Hey guys, it's Michelle Pippin, the founder of Women Who Wow, the online alliance for seriously driven women entrepreneurs, and the writer at the blog, PlanetWOW.club. So I'm excited to be here today for an episode of Mondays with Michelle. That used to be Mornings with Michelle, and I felt like it was too much for me to show up and do a live stream and actually put makeup on and do this every single morning, right? And so I'm going to transition it over to Mondays with Michelle. And I want to start with something a little bit entertaining. I cannot stand when live streams start with people fixing their hair and getting a drink and all this other stuff, when in reality, people are here for what they're here for. So I will get to why all of my ex-boyfriends and my husband and my parents and a few other people might have come up with the same pet name for me, which is Nightmare. I'm sure it's used affectionately. I'll get to that and what it has to do with you getting what you want in life and in business and in love and everything else. But first, I want to do a book review on a book that I have not taken the time to read. This is the book I'm reviewing right now, Freakishly Effective Social Media for Network Marketing. This is a book by Ray and Jessica Higdon. I haven't read it, but immediately I learned that they are going to give me the instructions for how to set up your social media profile the right way for maximum results. Now, if it's not already cool enough that you're selling the exact same products at the exact same price to people who have heard of the product before, now you get to all have the same social media profile. So that's good. And then it tells you that they're going to give you a word for word what to say. They actually said it twice. Word for word, what to say, word for word to people on social media, even if you don't know them, right? That'll be awesome. I love to talk with people I don't know, especially if I'm doing it via script, said sarcastically. Step by step on how to build locally using social media and some other stuff in this book. Here's what I wish that they'd have in this book. The foreword is actually written by Kim Garst, who's a super, super smart woman. But what I wish they had in this book is some sort of acknowledgement that network marketing is not that much different than any other marketing, that it's not that much different than other businesses, and that you should do it person to person, and that you should market through content, and you should, even though you're selling the same products to some of the same people and you have no flexibility on price or packaging or anything else, that you should still use content in your marketing, that you should go out of your way to differentiate yourself, that you should let people know why they should buy from you versus anybody else, that you should create a community. That's what I hope is in this book. I don't know. But if you are in network marketing or just curious and desperate for something to read, it is Freakishly Effective Social Media for Network Marketing. You can find it on Amazon and I don't know, I think it's $2.99. So I am wanting to talk about or kind of get into the pet name that all of my ex-boyfriends came up with for me, as well as my husband, and I think my parents and some other people too, and what it has to do with women's empowerment and women asking for what they want, really asking for what they want. And I want to give you a couple examples. So the other, last week, actually, I went out with a couple of Women Who Wow members, actually, for a girls' night out, just went to dinner, and I ordered the risotto con scampi at this Italian joint, and I ordered it with no risotto. And so the women who were with me were like, how did you think of that? I thought of it because I wanted everything but the risotto, right? I just didn't want the risotto. And so I asked them to exchange the risotto for spinach, and it was absolutely fabulous. But I'm accustomed to asking for what I want. I'll never forget when I was pregnant with Shelby, very, very, very pregnant. And I went to Southland Restaurant. If you've ever been to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, you've driven past Southland Restaurant. They have a great breakfast. And I went in there and I asked for, they had an egg sandwich, and it was on an English muffin. And I didn't want scrambled eggs. I wanted eggs over easy in my sandwich. And I know it's not normal or customary to order your sandwich in this way. However, that's still how I wanted my sandwich. And so I asked the waitress, I want this sandwich, but I want the eggs cooked over easy instead of scrambled. And she said, oh, they come scrambled. And I said, oh, okay. I totally get that. I'd like my eggs on my sandwich. I'd like them over easy. And she's like, oh, I don't think we can do that. And I said, oh, are the eggs like in a carton, right? Like this is the South. Like we use freaking fresh eggs, right? And so I said, well, are they in a carton? Like, the kind that are already scrambled and you just like pour them into a pan? Oh, no, they're fresh eggs. Awesome. Do you have a full kitchen back there? Yeah, of course. Excellent. I want you to crack an egg. I want you to cook it over easy. Put it on a plate next to the toasted English muffin with a piece of cheese and a slice of bacon. Right? Like, how hard is this? And karma did bite me in the butt on that one, because the waitress, of course, was not happy. She brought out, my husband was humiliated. She brought out my egg cooked over easy. I put it on a sandwich. I bit into it and like yolk went everywhere. Right? It was like, she couldn't have orchestrated it better if she had tried. But the truth is, this is just part of, I guess the reason that I'm known as a nightmare, right? Or some might call me fun to love instead of easy to love, right? But part of that is that I'm always going to ask for what I want, right? And I used to say all the time, like, other people might tell me no 10 times a minute. Other people might tell me no every time I ask that day, but I'm not going to tell myself no, right? I'm always going to ask for what I want. I'm going to ask for what I want in a restaurant for sure. I'm going to ask for what I want in bed. I'm going to ask for what I want in life and love. And of course, I'm going to ask for what I want in business, right? And I think that there's something, in the air, maybe, right? Where, or maybe in some conditioning or cultural conditioning or whatever, where women are not really comfortable just demanding what they want and putting it out there, right? And not in business, not with their employees, not with their lovers, not with their kids, not with their families, right? And so we want things and then we don't tell anyone, and then we're resentful when it's not done for us, right? Or we're like, what the heck? How come it's happening for her and not for me? And how come this is hard or whatever, right? Because true empowerment is not about chanting together in the streets, right? True empowerment is about being able to speak your truth, be willing to ask for what you want when you stand alone, right? How empowered are you when you stand alone? How empowered are you when you're asking for something that isn't customary, that might require a little bit of extra effort? How comfortable are you asking for people to do it your way, right? Even when you're the boss, how comfortable are you with this? And I think that there's something to that, right? Like, and if you think about it as a woman, if you're watching this as a woman or as a man even, like, think of the different ways that you silence your own voice, right? Because maybe you don't want to look like a diva, or you don't want to look like you're too picky, or you don't want to look like a nag, or whatever it is, right? Because women demanding what they want isn't always celebrated, right? In our world. And so when you're asking for what you want, it's one thing. When you're demanding what you want, it's another. And so think of the different ways, though, that you silence your own voice, right? Like, and these are small ways. And we want to make sure that we are, that we're using these small little examples as ways to train us to speak up when it's really pretty simple. So I'll think of it this way. So, in a massage, right? You're in a massage, with a massage therapist, and the pressure is too light or it's too heavy, which I can't imagine, but I've heard it can happen. But the pressure is either too light or too heavy. And maybe you say it one time, right? Oh, it's a little too much, or could I have a little bit more pressure? And then 5 minutes later, it's back to where it's like she's rubbing oil on you and there's no pressure whatsoever, right? And even myself, like I'll be like, I don't want to just lay here and be resentful that I'm having oil rubbed on me and no pressure from the massage, right? And yet I also don't want to be a nag. I don't want to be that person. But think of the ways that you silence your own voice. In the massage, when the pressure is too light. In a restaurant, when you want something that's obviously in the kitchen, but it's not on the menu. Within your relationships, with your employees, with your virtual assistant, with your graphic designer, asking for something specific. The truth is, this is the seed of female empowerment. This is it. Being willing to stand alone and have your voice heard, right? Over the small things. We need to start practicing asking for what we want, right? And so ever since I was a little kid, like I somehow felt like I owed it to myself to ask for what I wanted, right? How else would people know? And I know I got a reputation as a nightmare, right? I didn't tolerate a whole lot. I expected the guys I dated to somehow be a little bit like my dad, and they weren't in a lot of ways. Like, my dad put my mom first. He put us first. And they were dating since they were 13 and got married at 17. So I kind of maybe had some unreal expectations for high school dating relationships, but I still asked for what I wanted. I still asked for loyalty from my friends. I still asked for fairness from my teachers and my professors. In college, I put myself through college. I couldn't go to class all the time because I had 2 jobs. And so I'd go to the professor and ask for leniency on attendance. Like, listen, if I can just make an A and not have to show up, is that okay with you? And sometimes I had to go back a few times and why are you penalizing me? If I can get an A and not show up, why does it matter to you? Right? And so sometimes I had to fight for it, but I was accustomed to asking for what I wanted because I somehow felt like, if I didn't do that, if I didn't stand up for me, who would stand up for me? Right? Anyway, so I believe this is important, and I think there's so many little ways that women silence their voice and hush their expectations and tamper or damper down what we really want. And so I want to encourage you today on this hashtag Mondays with Michelle. I want to encourage you to really ask for what you want. And I want to give you a few little tips on how to start this, right? Because me being the nightmare that I am, even when my husband, talked to my parents about proposing to me, my parents were like, are you sure you know what you're getting into, right? Because they know me and they love me, but I'm fun to love, not exactly easy to love. And so, I want to give you some examples of how to start to really honor your own voice in the small things so that you're willing to be heard in the big things, that you're willing to stand alone if necessary, that you're willing to be thought of as a nag or as, whatever, in order to listen to what's inside of you and to listen to what you really need to live the life that you want to live. So the first, and I think the easiest way to do this, and it's shocking because I say it's easy, and yet I even find myself, dialing down my ambition in my own journal, right? And it's of all places, that's where I should be able to dream and write out something outrageous that I really want. And yet I find myself sometimes dialing it down. And so I want to encourage you, as I encourage me, to write out in your journal what you really want. What do you want in terms of support for your business? What do you want from your clients? What do you want in terms of income? What do you really want in terms of self-care? What do you want in terms of your body, in terms of your marriage, in terms of your relationships with your kids, right? Because I think that if we're not careful, we can go through our life and look around to see what's possible, what's left over, what's easily attainable, and say, oh, good, I'll take that. Instead of listening to what's inside, this is what I really want, right? This is what I really, really want. In the book, and I think it's by Bruce Wilkinson, it's a Christian book, but it's called The Dream Giver. And I didn't read it for a long time because I thought that it would be a book that painted God in this light of being a Santa Claus God, right? He's the dream giver. He's going to make your dreams come true. And when I finally picked it up, right? I realized that it wasn't that at all. It was that he planted the dream, right? It's up to us to bring it to life, but he planted the dream. And so I really want us to honor the dreams that we have inside of us. So one way to start really getting out there and having your voice heard and being comfortable with your own desires is journal it out. What do you want, right? What kind of food do you want? What kind of sex life do you want? What kind of business do you want? What kind of relationship, marriage? What kind of home do you want? What, everything, write it out. So if that's a first step, that's a win, right? Because we start seeing it on paper, we start seeing it come out of us and it becomes more real to us. So that's the first way. But also another challenge, when you're out at a restaurant, when you're getting that massage, when you're getting your hair done, don't be afraid to ask for what you want, right? Be specific. I'm a nightmare getting my hair done. I don't know why anyone does my hair twice. I have found someone who's amazing, by the way, in Chesapeake, Virginia, if you want that that hookup. I mean, and I think my hair looks better than ever. She also, I use Monate products, and which I don't sell, but she sells. And anyway, so I don't know why anyone does my hair twice, because I you know, the world might look at it like I'm complaining, but when the water's too cold, it's rarely too hot, but if it's too cold, like, I'm like, could you make it hotter? Could you make it hotter? Could you make it hotter? Right? When they're rubbing my head so good, I'm like, oh my God, I love this. Like, keep going, you know? I'm not afraid. I used to be hugely embarrassed to admit that, I don't wash and dry my own hair. Right? I have it blown out. And I was, I'd even get embarrassed, like, calling the salon and saying, like, you know, do you do blowouts, or can you, fit me in for a blowout? And I used to get embarrassed by that. Like, who doesn't wash and dry their own hair? Or I get embarrassed, like, I'm like a little old granny who, goes and gets her hair set every Friday or whatever, And so, but I'm willing now to ask for exactly what I want. And I still have to hone it every day. So that is my challenge to you today. May we all be considered nightmares by our ex-boyfriends and our current spouse and anyone else who knows us, because we are worth it, right? Yeah, Melanie, and you know what? I just said that, and it's such an unintentional, like, slip. Melanie says, I don't get why people think clear requests are complaints. Right. Even I think that, right? And, like, I'm willing to do it, but sometimes I feel like a complainer. And listen, here's the deal. Entrepreneurs typically don't like being told what to do, right? It's like as a matter of fact, I'm traveling to Orlando, Florida in a couple weeks to speak on the topic literally of you're not the boss of me, right? This is who we are. We don't like to be told exactly what to do. But a lot of people, find a lot of security in that, right? Wouldn't they like to be told exactly what to do in order to please you as their customer or client or whatever, or lover, right? Right? Don't make me guess. I'm not going to make my husband guess, for sure, right? I'm going to say it. I'm going to say what I want. Anyway, thank you for that, Melanie. That was a challenge to me, because I often think when I'm asking for something specific, it's viewed as a complaint. And now I realize that I think I view it as a complaint. So anyway, we all have work to do as women to be truly empowered, which is not happening in a group, right? That's part of it. We need to be truly empowered when it's just us. It's just us and our thoughts, us and our desires, us and our voice. So if I can help you, certainly email me, m.me/women-who-wow. If you are a woman entrepreneur and you're seriously driven, you need to join us over at women-who-wow.com. You won't find a better group. You will not find a better tribe to support you, to encourage you, to empower you, and to fully equip you to create a business and income in life on your terms. So talk with you guys soon. I'll be back again next Monday for Mondays with Michelle, and I'll get into a rhythm with this, but I will always start with a book review of a book I've not read yet, which makes it so much more fun. And if you have a book you want me to review, shoot it over to me. Talk with you soon. Bye.